Welcome back to the Scaredy Cat Guide, my friends. My name is Jenny, and today we are talking about living with the land in Disney's Epcot. If you're new here, this is the channel where we talk about Disney and anxiety, we talk about sensory issues, and really just anything that you might want to know if you're an anxious rider at Disney World, like me. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, living with the land is my happy place. I adore this attraction. It is so relaxing, it's such a vibe, and I cannot wait to ride it with you guys today. Now, even though this attraction is very relaxing, there are a few things that we need to talk about if you have anxiety like I do. Let's dive into those details. This farming-themed attraction contains darkness, some mild heat and sound effects, and a pretty long ride duration. Now, before we jump in, I just wanted to mention that I am a little bit under the weather this week, so if you notice it by my voice, I am so sorry. I will hopefully be back to normal by next video. So Living with the Land is a pretty typical dark ride in many respects. While there are some very cool outdoor sections and some very well lit areas as well, we do have a few scenes that take place, well, in the dark. Now, it is worth noting that while these scenes are dimly lit, they are very relaxing, upbeat, and really not scary at all. And like I said, the other scenes are pretty bright. So while I would definitely say that Living with the Land qualifies as a dark ride of sorts, it's really not all that intimidating, at least in this respect. Now, moving right along, let's talk about the sensory elements on this ride. Now, while I would definitely say that Living with the Land is very tame in this respect, there are definitely a couple things that I should mention if you have anxiety like I do. First of all, there is a very brief heat effect that you'll encounter as you find your way through this desert landscape. Now, this does not last for long at all. It's not very, very hot or oppressive or anything like that, but you definitely can feel the temperature change around you as you float through this specific show scene. On top of this sudden temperature change, we also have a few instances of thunder and, of course, some various animal sounds. Now, I really only mention the thunder here because it was very upsetting to my 4-year-old daughter. She really doesn't like thunder at all. She doesn't like it on the Winnie the Pooh ride or the Haunted Mansion. Really, any ride that has thunder, she is not a fan of, and this one definitely got her. I will say, though, that to me, this kind of rainforest thunderstorm segment is definitely more on the relaxing side. To me, it almost kind of sounds like a sound machine that I would have playing for myself. But if you or someone in your party really doesn't do thunder, just be aware that there is a little bit towards the beginning of this ride. Now, these animal sounds are pretty basic. They're nothing that you haven't heard on other attractions around Walt Disney World. Of course, we've got some puppy dogs, we've got some bison, some roosters, and chickens. We've even got a few crocodiles. And all of these animal characters do make some noise as you make your way past them. And I would not say that this ride has especially loud sound design or anything like that. I also wanted to mention that we do have some very basic animatronics on this ride as well. Now, these animatronics are the little critters that we've been talking about. And when I say they are basic, I just mean that they have very, very limited motion. However, because this channel is all about telling you what to expect, I just wanted to mention it just so you're aware. Now, let's talk about those ride vehicles. Now, what you'll find on this attraction are individual boats. Each one contains 5 rows and seats about 4 to 5 riders per row. Now, as you can imagine, these boats seat quite a few people. We're talking around 20 passengers each. So just like Pirates of the Caribbean or other attractions that have these very large ride vehicles, Living with the Land can be very fast loading and unloading, which is a great thing if you were concerned about that wait time. Now, these ride vehicles also have no lap bar or restraints of any kind. So if you have any trouble with feeling claustrophobic with ride restraints, you are good to go in this department. Now, as long as we're talking about claustrophobia, the last thing that we need to mention here is the ride duration. This attraction clocks in at a whopping 15 minutes, making it one of the longest ride durations in all of Walt Disney World. Now, this might not pose a problem at all to you, especially since this attraction is very relaxing and chill, and generally is very not anxiety inducing at all. I sometimes will get anxious just because of this long ride time. And now that you have all the facts, let's actually go hop in line. I'm so excited. I am ready for a nice, relaxing Living with the Land ride. So let's go hop on this thing together. You'll find the entrance to this attraction in the Land Pavilion in Epcot. Now, after making your way inside, you will see the front of this queue, and like with many other minor attractions, it's a very, very basic line. There's nothing really particularly special about this queue. It's really just a basic line that winds back and forth in front of the loading station. You can see the ride from the front of the queue, so this is also a great one to get a good view of those ride vehicles before you hop in line, and it's usually a pretty short wait time as well. So before you know it, you will make your way through this queue and end up at your first cast member, who will send you into your lanes and get you ready to board the ride vehicles. Now, once this ride sets off, you will enter this dark tunnel and very quickly find yourself in this rainforest scene. Now, this is where the thunder is that I was mentioning before. Like I said, it's not terribly loud or terribly imposing, but it's definitely there. You've got some rainforest sounds. Like I said, to me, it sounds kind of like a sound machine, and I love it. Now, after passing through this thunderstorm, you will continue through this rainforest and see a few little critters. You'll see some crocodiles and some giant butterflies. There will be this lovely waterfall, and moving right along, we will find ourselves in this desert landscape. Now, this is where those heat effects are. Like I said, they're not super abrasive or anything like that, but you definitely will notice that shift in temperature when you enter the desert here. This is a very short scene, and you'll be in and out before you know it, putting you right into our prairie segment where you see this cute little farmhouse. There will be puppy dogs and chickens and roosters and even some bison, including a baby one. He's so cute. Now, as you drift through this scene, you will enter the barn where you will find screens all across the wall that are educating you on different farming practices around the world. You've got some very nice music playing as you just drift slowly through, and from here you will prepare to enter the outdoor section of this attraction. Now, I absolutely love this part, and we go to Epcot all the time. We ride Living with the Land pretty much every time, and I love seeing how different this part of the ride is every single time. We will see different vegetables growing depending on what time of the year it is. You may see workers walking around. You might even see a tour. There's really so much to look at in this section, and if you like gardening like my husband does, it's really just a very cool educational experience. You'll wind underneath this glass dome before finding yourself in the fisheries. There are large tanks all around you where you can see the little fishies. There's this really cool red lighting in this particular section, and before you know it, you'll end up in another greenhouse area just like the first one. Of course, there are lots of veggies and fruits and plants to look at, and before you go back indoors, you will pass the lab, and sometimes you can see people working in there. It's very, very cool. However, very quickly our tour is over and we will go back inside into another dark tunnel. Now, our last scene of this attraction is another little collection of screens where we get to see these very cool practices all around the world, and we leave very inspired about sharing this wonderful planet that we call home. And after that, you will find yourself pulling up to the unloading station. A cast member will help you off and point you towards the exit. And there we have it. What do you think about Living with the Land? This is one of my all-time favorite rides. I know a lot of people find it kind of boring, maybe a little too educational for their taste, but to me it is just incredibly relaxing, and for someone with anxiety like myself, it is a wonderful, safe space for me where I can really take a breather. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, stick around, stay a while. We would love to have you in our little community of anxious riders. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.